everything. I gotta live like a king. Hey, catch this rhythm. You feel that? That's called playerism. I'm on the scene, a player clean, poker face, 4 queens. I got 4 of a kind on everything. Diggers, living elite. I don't feel complete without kicking at my feet in a Rolls Royce every week. Baby, this is deep. Listen close when I speak. I need to at least, cause I'm too much. Got 2 nuts and give 0 fucks. I've been player too long for you to tell me having 2 women is too wrong. The way I get my groove on. If I can't have 2, then I gotta move on. Even my car is 2-tone. So when I roam, I gotta bring 2 home. Quit banging my line, ho. Quit banging my line, ho. When you see me act like you don't even know me, ho. When you see me act like you don't even know me, ho.
Understand what we're doing here. Like William, for example, was at the last conference. Brandon,
come on, baby, get a clue. How you do what you do? How do you fall in love with me, but I'm not in love with you? Quit banging my...
Peace to the saints!
Peace to the saints!
Be out here grooving, you dig? This is a live session that was requested by one of the lady saints, and her query was, what does it take to get and keep a high value man? I'm more so going to focus on the piece of what does it take to keep a high value man, because the unfortunate reality is that to get a high value man, which is to say to become familiar with him, to get some attention and time from a high value man, unfortunately, that's kind of the easy part for the female. But to be retained by that man, that's the difficult part. And I not only want to go through that in terms of what are the true requirements for the female, but also I want to talk through some of the ideas that we as men have about how a female should behave and see if they're realistic or reasonable. You dig? We got a lot of game going on today. I'm sure you got a lady who might be watching this with you, or you got a female that you're dealing with. She might have been out of line, or you might have just thought she was out of line. Feel free to send in those thoughts, questions, comments, and we're going to address it. You dig? Recently, one of the saints shared a story about a young lady. He was actually his girlfriend, and she went out basically on what was a double date with her homegirl and 2 of her work colleagues. Completely inappropriate. You dig? That's when you give her them walking papers. Let us show love to those who show love to us.
Lawson said, peace to the saints. Hope all is well, Mr. Burton. I'll catch the repost on Patreon.
Peace to the saints, and indeed all is well. And if you'd like to join the family, the link is in the description. I've just refreshed that description. You'll see patreon.com/the saint in the center.
And for those that don't know, there is now a new subscription option on Instagram. And
Right.
you do go live, special stuff for the Instagram subscribers as well.
And the Instagram piece is really for that behind the scenes, reality TV lifestyle stuff. Like last night, we went through one of my recipes from scratch, which was a gyro. It's really good, and that seasoning is cold.
Your recipe from scratch?
You know what I mean. The recipe I eat, yeah.
All right, Emperor Jason Paul said, what's the latest OG? Peace to the saints.
Oh man, I'm just cooling and strategizing, really asking myself right now, what are the activities that yield the most value for me? You know, there are a lot of things that I do, but what are the things I can stop doing, and what are the things I can, turn it up on that are giving me the most value in life? And thirdly, I'm asking myself, what do I really enjoy? I actually have a list of those things, but I'm always asking myself that so I can really get into those activities, make sure that life is an exciting ride.
He said, confirm Patreon is high level. And I don't have my phone on me, but I saw someone posted on Discord that the Patreon was life-changing for them.
Indeed, indeed. And the Patreon is great because unlike, he writes, PayPal won't let me send via friends and family. Wow, that's cold-blooded. I'd say try out Cash App then. But the Patreon is unique in as much as I'm giving you real stories from real life. And oftentimes you'll get an opportunity to have a live session like this, but we can really go deep because we can tell true stories. We can, you can say the names and talk about your girlfriend if you need to. I could talk about my girlfriend if I need to. And we can really, rap in a serious way, when we do the member only live. So that's one of the things I really like about Patreon. And of course, it has hundreds of videos that are exclusive, giving you, the truth of the matter.
Kamal said, peace to the saints tuition.
Peace to the saints. Shout out to the saints around the world.
Joshua said, peace to the saints. How your week going, Saint?
It's been highly productive, and I've been trying new things, which I like. And anytime I can have like a, new mindset, and, that's refreshing for me, keeps life exciting.
We might have to bring back the bucket hats. There's quite a few comments on that.
I feel like that's the bucket hat might not even be that cold. It's just that I make it look so player. So just, warning, how when you look in your rearview mirror, it might say things are closer than they may appear. I just want to say if I wear something, they are not as fly as they may appear. You dig? You got to factor in the swag. Carrying on.
OH said, peace to the saints. Will the Instagram have the same setup as Patreon, being able to see the replay? Due to time zone differences, it will be difficult to see it live. I think he's over in Europe. We just sent a briefcase. He got a lot of stuff coming to him.
Yeah, shout out to the Saints getting a drip game up. And I know he got that briefcase. There's actually only like 2 left.
Yeah.
So I should have put the link for that. But yeah, there's 2 left. You can get it at mdblabel.com. And once they gone, they gone. With regards to the replays, yes, absolutely. All the replays will be up for the subscriber member on Instagram.
Okay, Rick came in via PayPal. He said, peace to the saints. Sorry, Saint. Gotta watch this when I get home. Data running low, and I'm out here chasing the bag, just paying tuition.
Appreciate it. Peace to the Saints. May you be successful.
And on Cash App, we have Dutch said, peace to the saints. How to find/introduce a second wife.
Very good. In my opinion, the best way to find a second wife is for that first wife to get her ass to work. You dig? And let her be too disagreeable in that matter. You might have to can her because she's really the foundation of things. And if you truly desire to have that second wife, don't let that first wife hold you back from your destiny and your fate. You heard me? If you are a king and you have a king's appetite and you're going to live a king's lifestyle, don't let anyone derail you from who you are. As we say in that 3-sentence Bible, be yourself, be good to yourself, be good to good people. Hey, if she is not meant to be on your path, then go ahead and lead her to a new path and keep on straightforward. But in short, you can find an elaboration on the specific strategies that you would use for that on patreon.com/the Saint the Sinner. I made a whole video about that as that's a common question.
We have Chanel said, girlfriend and I got into an argument. She hasn't responded in 2 days. What should I do next? Her values and qualities exceed her emotional instability. Peace to the saints.
I hear you. Number one, it's always nice to do things right the first time. Right now, with her not responding, if you were to continue with the same strategy that hasn't worked, which is reaching out, that's not going to yield anything, and it's only going to weaken your position. So if I were you, I would just give her the space that she seems to want for a couple more days and then see if she reaches back out. Maybe give her a little bit of space and then check in on her. And if you feel as though, hey, this might be a permanent destabilization that we're not recovering from, just give her a heads up like, hey, I just want to let you know, if you don't plan on coming back around, I'm going to start moving on, right or wrong, whether I was right or wrong. If this is how you feel, we're going to have to take those next steps.
Rob said, peace to the saints, big homie. Glad you're well. The member live was too cold. As a well-traveled super player, what are your thoughts on these get a passport men? Are foreign women really a big difference in your opinion?
Not really. The truth is that what they're finding is a couple things. They're not really surviving on the game when they're out there. They're surviving on the reputation of America as the land of opportunity. As a result, these women in these retrograde economies are looking at you as an opportunity. Hence, when they see you, they see a dollar sign and they treat you as though you're a celebrity, hoping to eventually be able to extract something from you. So they're a little bit too nice, nicer than they really are. They're a little bit more accommodating than they normally would be. And anytime you hear a person speak poorly of their countrymen, i.e. their own kind, this is someone you should be suspicious of, for it doesn't make a lot of sense and it's not quite proper to speak poorly of your own. So when you're around these foreign women, you might hear them say things like, oh yeah, guys from my country are like this. And then in your head, you got to be saying, well, what about you? Hey, aren't you from the country too? How are you just immune to all of the things that ail your countrymen? So that's number one. And are there certain cultures where you do find superior cultural traits? Absolutely. Like, for example, you'll find that women are more likely to be have more feminine qualities in Asia. South Korea is a great example of that. You'll find that women tend to be, more traditional in Japan. You'll find that women tend to be more feminine in Brazil, and certainly there are excesses to that. They also have a lot of plastic surgery in Brazil and Colombia. You'll find that women are more traditional in Sudan and in the Islamic world and certain parts of sub-Saharan and East Africa. So those things are always balanced, though. For example, if you were to get a girl from East Africa, she might be a bit more traditional, a bit more feminine, but her teeth are jacked up because those are her real teeth. You heard me? She ain't got no veneers, she ain't had no braces, she ain't seen the dentist in ever, and her table manners aren't there. Now, there's all certain sorts of things you're going to have to do to get her up to standards. Her education might not be there. The English isn't fluent, so the communication will take a long time to really get to the standards you want. Her family's never really going to accept you because they're largely homogenous, the Habesha, and you would be an outsider. So there's pros and cons, but at the end of the day, anytime you're trying to cheat, you only cheat yourself. You're never going to win like that.
Okay, Gianni sent tuition.
Peace to the saints.
And Rockstar Tony said, the girl I've been dealing with recently confessed to me she's tried OF on the low, but stopped. I encouraged her to start again and let me manage it. She down, but I'm feeling guilty. Thoughts?
Nah, hell nah. I don't feel guilty at all because you can't turn a house cat into a lion and you can't turn a lion into a house cat. You heard me? Just because you didn't realize when you pulled up on her that she was a lion, you might have looked at her, thought she was a house cat. Turns out she's a lion. That's cool. Well, let's go ahead and let the lion do what the lion does. All you're trying to do is manage it and make something productive out of it. So you shouldn't feel guilty about that at all, because at the end of the day, if somebody's not a killer, you can't convince them to catch a body, right? So you're only helping her bring some order to that which she already had the natural intention to do. And clearly she did it, but she ain't do it right. You might be able to help her strike gold with it. So I say carry on. And remember, anytime you're in business, if you are compensated for something, you're compensated because you added value. And there's nothing wrong with being compensated for adding value.
Rob said, facts. I tell them all the time, if you can't get an American woman in line, don't go overseas.
In a real way. And I'm not saying there aren't gorgeous women overseas who have good qualities. There are. But if you're struggling here, you're going to struggle there. And the worst part about it is you probably don't have the intellectual ability and the social skills to detect if the woman is scamming you. And 9.9, 9 out of 10, she is.
Carry on.
First, I want to start with some of the notes that the gentleman wrote in the comments when I posed the question of, what are the things that a woman should do to get a high value man? And I think it's important to go through these things to make sure that we're not deluded. Sometimes we're not getting what we want because what we want is outrageous. You heard me. Firstly, Twitch TV says that they need to follow the ism. You damn Skippy. They absolutely should follow the ism. And do follow your boy on Twitch at Marquett Devon. Jarrell writes, whatever rules the man puts in place should be obeyed by his woman to the T. There's a lot of truth in that, but you have to remember that the rules that the woman follows are the rules of her man, which is to say, when you come in the door, she's not about to be on your program already. Number one, she's not been educated and trained. It's just like a brand new employee. If they don't know the protocol, they can't follow the protocol. Furthermore, one of the things I state in the document that I'm going to be putting out called Rules for Females is that a woman's submission should increase day by day for her man, which is to say it's not going to be at 100% when you get her. Her submission increases daily with increased, yes?
There's just a comment in here.
Okay.
I think it's the person.
Okay. The person, oh, you already blocked him?
Yeah, the person
Okay.
that you went in on yesterday, someone said you were harsh to that like said the person by name.
Oh, really? They're like,
Yeah.
oh, you were so
Like
mean.
that was that person with the
New screen name.
screen name.
That's
Yeah.
funny. Marquett, you're so mean.
Sorry for interrupting.
The truth is, I can be mean. It's factual. And I've always, I tell people in real life, like, I'm not a nice guy. I was not raised to be nice, and I'm not nice. It just is what it is. I'm kind, but I'm not nice. So I don't ever like play nice. You heard me? I keep it real out here.
Back watching again though.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. These people are mentally ill out here. But we're going to carry on. So the woman's dedication increases day by day. It's important to understand that because her submission increases with her knowledge of you, her increased trust in you as a man, and her faith that you can deliver, that you'll do the right thing, that you're a moral leader. That's why the submission increases. She's not just going to come up to a stranger and say, sir, yes, sir, we're playing Simon Says and you're Simon. That has to be developed. So I just want to give that caveat to when you say a man's direction should be followed to the T, it has to be her man, but also to the ladies who are hard-headed out here, and there are a great many of them. And we even heard in one of the podcasts, a young lady said, yeah, I listen to my man. No, who is you? Well, love, in the dating process, you should be increasing your submission during that process as well. You don't basically wait until you're married to a guy to give the submission, because the truth is that whole courting process is your job application and your resume. I'm not about to give you credit for what you said you are. I'm going to give you credit for what you have demonstrated yourself to be. So don't tell me you're going to start cooking for me when you become my wife if you didn't cook for me when you were my fiance and my girlfriend, because things don't get automatically turned on. For example, there have been times I've hosted several women at my place, and I observed that they don't clean up after themselves. And to me, that's a very clear indication that they're filthy broads, right? I don't care if there's a maid. Me, if there's a maid, I'm still probably inclined to make my bed. That's just habit and routine. So if I see that you're not abiding by these basic things, I can only infer that this is who you are. You're in a state of flow. You're being yourself. Huh? Another saint writes, the rules that a woman must follow to keep and get a high value man. Number one, she must be submissive. We went through that one. And this is true, ladies. If you are with a man that you can't submit to, you're probably a whore, which means that you're indiscriminate and you're dealing with guys for base reasons, not the right reasons. Any woman who's with a man that she doesn't feel comfortable submitting to might be a gold digger, a whore, or something worse, because otherwise, why would you be with that guy? So I don't want to hear any story about if it's the right man. You're the one choosing the man. So he ought to be the right man. The second piece of it, he writes, loving. Yeah, loving is a basic. Females are love animals. You see, if you have a woman who doesn't love you, you really have nothing. You'll never have deep influence over her. She'll never get anything done for you. The female's gasoline is love. If you don't have that with her, you are in a very dangerous territory. When a woman doesn't love you, you are very much so subject to being abused. And I'll tell you why. Whereas the male may have nobility and he may be fair among those to those who are among him, the female is not noble by nature. When she loves you, she'll go above and beyond. But when she doesn't love you, oh man, you better watch out. She'll do you dirty. She'll use you up and toss you out like a used condom. He says caring. Yeah, that's a basic. When they're loving, they're generally caring. If you find a woman who purports to love you but is not caring, then that shows you that something is wrong in the way she was raised, and she probably has emotional damage. To be caring should be a natural instinct of the female. If that natural instinct is in disrepair, there's surely something wrong there.
Tari said a woman is not submissive when she first gets with a man. It takes time.
That's factual.
Okay, we do have Justin, Jason, and Daniel bought briefcases. I think I failed to mention I found two more. So we do have one more left.
All right, gotcha.
One more.
Right, thank you.
Jose sent a cash app. He said tuition, peace to the saints.
Peace to the saints. He writes loyal. Now, this is a really important aspect for the female, because loyalty is something that requires definition. The sad reality is that you have a lot of women in the modern society who have no good concept of what it is to be loyal. So you must define this. And in fact, organizationally, we are going to define this as a civilization so that it's right there in writing. And so that when the violation occurs, we can let her know, hey, love, you got to go. Pack all your stuff. You got to go. And that's because they'll be very sneaky in the way they are disloyal. Some women will behave and speak as though the only measure of loyalty is to not give their vagina and their sex and sexual physical contact freely. But there is another form of disloyalty, which involves you giving up my personal information. And I don't care if you're giving it up to the feds, to your parents, your family, whose business it is not, to your friends, or to other men. Giving up my personal information, sharing my secrets, that is disloyalty, because information is a very privileged thing. If I should even share it with you, you'd be a fool to give it up as a woman. That is deep disloyalty. Furthermore, your attention and your service, if you were to give your attention and service to another man, you are being disloyal. In fact, your presence, if you were to have yourself present with another man in private, that is disloyalty. You say, damn, Quett, you going hard. You're right. I'm going extremely hard because I always manage my own interests. And if you are my woman, you are one of my interests and one of my assets, and I protect my assets. You heard me? I don't leave my money sitting around for everybody to put their hands on it. I put my money in a safe or in a bank. You dig? Same thing with my other assets. I don't leave my woman just sitting in the midst of strange men for them to, do as they will. No. I keep my assets managed. And so that must be understood.
Fred just got the bag, so we are completely sold out. Do
Right.
not purchase it. There are none left. Andrew said, peace to the saints. Appreciate the wisdom, Marquett. I have been feeling super player.
Hey, that's a beautiful thing. And that's the key to success. If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you can get things that are good. Yes, indeed.
I like Don. He watches my favorite show, I think. He said, if she doesn't love you, she's using you for resources. We'll find another man to kill you for life insurance.
Ooh, he ain't lying. He ain't lying. It get like that, sadly. It really does. It really does. He writes, she should be fit. Now, I know some of y'all like your girls with a little bit of jiggle, and I can't hate you for that. That's your own personal preference. You heard me? I personally like them titties hanging and swinging. I like an ass with a little bit of stretch marks on it. You dig? I like it when it's all jelly. That's just me. So she can't be doing too much exercise to where things get firmed up and she look like a WWE wrestler. I don't want her looking like an old girl from MMA. But yeah, she should at least exercise at a reasonable level. I don't want her arms looking like Jello cups. That is disgusting.
Ari said, also, how can we expect a woman to be submissive when there's poor leadership from men?
In a real way. And you really can't follow those who don't lead. And that's the key. The gentleman also writes feminine. You see, feminine is a word that's difficult to describe and certainly must be defined for the woman. I know it is ironic that they're supposed to be the one that's feminine, yet we, the masculine, have to define what the feminine is. It is a pity. And that's because the female has been victim of consumerism. And as a result, they believe that they use products to become feminine. They might even call them feminine care products. They might think that they become feminine when they put on the fake nails or the long eyelashes or the makeup and the lip gloss. That is not femininity. That is capitalism. That is you being swindled out of a fortune. That's what that is. So you really do need to define what it is to be feminine for the female. Submission is an aspect of femininity, and that makes perfect sense. Why wouldn't you submit when between the two of us, you are not the stronger one? You should submit. It's damn near the safest thing you could do. So femininity has certain aspects, one of which is knowing when to yield, another of which is knowing when to have silence fall over you. He writes, she must cook, clean, and keep up a house. I can dig it. Cooking is absolutely critical. Cleaning, for a woman to not clean is a very bad sign. I even recently heard a young lady say, yeah, I can cook and I like taking care of children, but I don't like cleaning. And then my instant thought was like, I bet your vagina smells like menthols. I bet your vagina smells like Newports, because for a woman to not like cleaning is a strange thing. In fact, the science indicates that grooming itself actually releases endorphins in the female brain. It's a natural instinct for the female. That is why they're so one, they're wired for details and they're always looking to perfect and clean and improve things. You know, a woman will look at you like, oh, you have something in your eye, you have something in your nose, you got this, you got that. There's a thread hanging out of your shirt. That is their actual nature. You encounter a dirtbag who doesn't like to clean, boy, you are in trouble. And she's a real filthy one, man. You better roll that condom all the way back because you're in trouble. Number 3. Oh, he writes, and keep up a house. Yes, those are also things that you need to have standards on and expectations. The challenge is that we're in an era of cultural breakdown, which is to say, I might be Mexican, she might be Mexican, but that doesn't mean the same thing. You heard me? I could be Mexican, I'm Catholic, she's Mexican, her family was atheist. There was a time when to be Mexican meant one thing, to be African American meant one thing, to be Irish meant one thing. With cultural breakdown and so many people choosing what they want to be, we don't know what it means to keep up a house. Hence, definition is required. And you have to come to an agreement with the lady on what the expectations are in the household. One of which should be we all take off our shoes when we come inside of the home. That's an important expectation. One thing I have in my household is that, you know, when we wake up in the morning, we need to draw all of the blinds so that the natural light can come in. Not that I'm trying to save money on the lights. I just like natural light. And when the sun goes down, we need to draw all of the blinds because I don't want people looking in here. And just let me give you a pro tip on security. When it's nighttime and it's dark outside and it's lit in your house, people on the outside can see in, but you can't see out and see what they're doing. You heard me? So for your personal security, you should draw those blinds when the sun goes down. That's a process in my house. In fact, we should probably standardize that one. If anyone wants to put these items in a document and kick them over to me, I would be pleased and we can use it. He writes and shout out to this saint right here, Lance, who really got specific. I respect men who move with accuracy and clarity. He writes, she must not let social media, television, movies, or outsiders shape her worldview or opinions. Now, this is a tough one, and this is why it's important to get them while they're young, get that fresh water. You heard me? So they're still malleable when you meet them. But the truth is, most of us are really formed in our promise years. The Carnegie Foundation says around age 7. So you better hope she's been raised right, because otherwise you have an uphill battle. So the first thing he mentions is social media, and this is a critical thing to understand in this era. The sad reality that you must acknowledge is that humankind is largely influenced by the factors of sex and money. Sex and money. It doesn't even have to be the delivery of those goods. It could even be the looming prospect of those things. What I mean is, what is modeling other than the woman trying to appear sexy? What is modeling other than her trying to appear sexy? And why is it that every time a girl is modeling, she seems to be in a state of partial undress? Yes, it's quite vile, but it's become accepted in the society. So any girl you encounter who wants to be a model, she's basically saying, I would like to be partially undressed and have strangers stare at me in lust. That is my great value to the world, is my body. And I would like strangers to stare at me in lust, not for the works of my mind, but for the beauty of this body I was genetically endowed with, not that I earned. So I say that to say this. Social media is a great lure because it allows the female to get self-esteem and false self-esteem and attention at very low cost. And it's a psychological tool which really has ensnared many of the females. If you can make it clear to her that, hey, love, you do not make money from social media. And do you have a plan of making money from social media? Oh, you don't? Well, then we should probably just cut this off, or at the very least, make it private so that you can utilize it to communicate with your family or to keep updated on your family's affairs. And many of the women you find with morals will have their social media completely private, and it will pretty much only have their family members on it. And that should be standard unless they are clearly making money from social media.
Screecha said, Isaiah, giving the saints standards expectations for new women to meet. Too much game. Can't wait for you to get the wrist wraps. Peace to the saints.
Peace to the saints. In fact, I do have those wrist wraps coming in tomorrow. They're now listed at thesasn.com, THESASN.com. So we now have the ruling on social media. He mentions television and movies. This largely has a lot to do with the way the female dresses. This is often a point of contention. A good woman, of course, she's going to come to you having already experienced certain things in the world. But when she really has self-respect and, more importantly, respect for you, then when she is in doubt, she will say, hey, what do you think about this outfit? Or what should I wear, this or this? Now, truthfully, I don't want to make a woman's fashion decisions, and I have more important things to do in my life than to advise you on if you look like a slore in that particular outfit. You would hope she has some natural instinct. But if she doesn't, it is really a blessing for her to ask you, hey, do you feel comfortable with me wearing this? But the truest test, gentlemen, and this is something that you might find out eventually by chance. Don't do any research. Don't become the woman and start acting like you're the FBI or Inspector Gadget. The way she dresses in your absence will let you know where she's at mentally. The way she dresses when she goes out with her friends will let you know where she's at mentally. The way she dresses when she's with her family and you're not around will let you know where she's at mentally, what she's seeking and what she's portraying. That is the truth of the matter. The female can be very much so a manipulative, crafty character that is good at dissimulating. And for that reason, you would really come to know her by seeing those jean shorts she wears when you ain't around, the ones that got her booty jiggling out the bottom of them. You dig?
Dylan sent a cash app. He said, excellent game to last us a lifetime.
Absolutely.
Carry on.
The Saint writes, don't let outsiders shape her worldview or opinions. This is another part that to me speaks to the friendships of the woman. And we've all gone through struggles where you have a female that you think, man, this is a good female right here, but her homegirl is a dirtbag. Let me let you in on a secret, Saints. You've been had, you've been boozled, you've been fooled. There's no such thing as a good girl who has a friend who's a dirtbag. Let me let you in on something. I was dating this young lady a while back. I was like, this is a good chick. She would tell me, she's like, oh yeah, my friend Audrey, she's a slut. Audrey slept with her husband's baseball team. Yeah, like 5 of them, the shortstop, the back catcher, everybody. I was like, God damn. I didn't even know baseball players did stuff like that. I thought it was like more of a football player activity, but whatever. All the same, she was telling me how much of a slore her friend is, which only to me allows me to estimate her morals, because if you know your friend is a slore, that means you've witnessed this firsthand. That means you've gone out with her. You guys have together met guys. And then at some point, your friend went off to engage in fornication with one of these guys. And well, what did that leave you doing? Were you not with one of his friends? Did his friend not have expectation? Of course. And what's more is the woman that you're dating is not going to put herself out there and say, yeah, I'm such a slut. I did this yesterday. No, she's going to try to keep up her best appearance if she likes you. But here's the great irony. While you're looking at her friends like, oh, I wish you had a different friend. I wish that girl wasn't your friend. That girl has a boyfriend and he's thinking, oh, I wish you weren't friends with that girl. Because each of them tells their man the story they want him to hear. There's no such thing as a girl who is a good girl but has friends who are slores. It just does not make sense. As Josh points out, birds of a feather flock together. The only issue that you're experiencing is that your girlfriend has only revealed to you the feather she wants you to see. But all things come to light in time.
Hector said, velvet, velvet, pimpin', tuition, peace to the saints.
In a real way. It's the mariachi pimpin', the velvet pimpin', Stephen A. Pimp, Fax Kellerman. He writes, she must obey her man's authority and listen to his instructions at will. I want to add that you don't want to be a tyrant with the female saying, hey, you got to follow my rules. You want a female who is interested in following your rules. You see, when you have to enforce, then you're on the bad side of things when she's going to become resentful. As we say, is by choice, not by force. There are women I've dealt with where we go out to eat. Hey, where do you want to eat? She's like, wherever you want to eat. And she means it. There are other women who are liars and scammers. Hey, where do you want to eat? They're like, oh, wherever you want to eat. You're like, all right, cool. Let's eat there. They're like, oh, well, did you check the Yelp reviews? Girl, You said you want to eat where I want to eat. I said, let's eat there. Why are you asking me about Yelp reviews? That's a liar. That's an insincere female. You heard me? That's a female who doesn't know how to submit or defer or follow directions or just be straightforward. So know the difference. That female is not ready for leadership. But there are those females that I've said, hey, what do you think of this? Or what do you want to do? And this is a direct quote. I don't like making decisions. You choose. That's a direct quote. I don't like making decisions. You choose. They're out there. Believe that. And that was in America. And so guys are acting like you can't find X, Y, and Z in America. Okay. Don't know where I found it. Remember, gentlemen, anytime you're looking for the easy way out in life, you will hurt yourself. There's no such thing as a deal. And what I mean by that is if you go and spend $10 on a pair of shoes, you're like, I got these shoes for just $10. You might wear them for 10 hours and they're going to fall apart. There's no such thing as a deal. Pay what you owe. That's why I say pay what you owe. You get what you paid for. You get what you earned. You get what you're worth. Guys just don't want to admit the reality that they want things they're not worthy of. How is it that all of us males are wired to want the tall, big booty, small waist, big breast, pretty face, intelligent, submissive, cooks, cleans, and all those things? We all want the same thing. But are we all at the level where we can actually get that? No. And that's the problem. That's why guys go abroad and think that they can get it when they don't realize you don't own it. You just renting it. Yeah, you just renting it, brethren, and you don't even know. And you ain't the only guy renting it. That's the worst problem. You sharing, little buddy. So we need to live realistically and, more importantly, understand the deeper values in the woman, which are none of the things that I named. The saint writes, a woman must be able to follow orders. We must all be able to follow orders. I just want to make a note on that. And I'm not recommending that men are following the orders of their women, but as men, we must understand hierarchy, which we must teach our children hierarchy. We must operate in hierarchies at work and in politics. And so we must also be able to follow orders. And undoubtedly, that woman should be able to follow orders. You can never be a great leader unless you are also a great follower, meaning you understand hierarchy. And when you're not at the top of the hierarchy, you can follow orders to the T as well. I like this one that Marcos wrote. He writes, she should be able to contribute to her man's goals. And this is actually quite critical because the truth of the matter is, believe it or not, most women don't have significant goals. And what I mean by that is a feminine woman's true goal is family. She wants to be in family with you. She wants to have you as a husband. She might want to have children. She might just want to have you around her family. She wants to enjoy family life and leisure and family joys and holidays and things together with family. That's a real woman's only goal. There's nothing beyond that. So anything beyond that is what you created. It's your financial goals. It's the goals that you've identified, which means A, you have to have them. And B, you have to give her a role that she can execute in pursuit of those goals.
JVR sent a cash app. He said, peace to the saints.
Peace to the saints. He writes, sharpening her skills that contribute to your goals, namely health and business. I really like that because you're talking about the woman having the instinct for improvement, and that's really good. And it reminds me of another thing that you want to avoid in the female. You absolutely want to avoid the party girl, which is to say the girl who's easily bored. She can't accept mundane life, which is family life. Family life consists of routines. Family life consists of waking up next to the same person every day. If she can't deal with that, she is not family material. She's not wife material. She's not mother material. She's a party girl. She's a Paris Hilton type. She wants to live in a reality television show. She thinks every day is a party. That's the kind of girl that's going to bankrupt you. That's the kind of girl that's going to be disloyal. That's the kind of girl that might even land you in jail. She might even land her damn self in jail. That's the girl you want to stay away from. That's the girl who thinks everything's a game and she wants to have fun and she's always turned up and lit. And that can be entertaining for a time, for a moment, but that is not entertaining over a lifetime. And that's a girl you have to manage and keep at bay and use her for what she's worth, which is probably just that mouth. What that mouth do. He writes, follow her man's schedule. Oh, I really like that one. That's a critical piece right there. And that speaks to a larger reality that if the man is the leader and she is the follower, her schedule is around his schedule. We're in an era where things have come backwards. It used to be that, male and female are young and they're interested in one another, and the guy gets a job in Boston, and so he has to move to Boston. So what does she do? She packs up and moves with him. I've heard situations now where the chick says, oh, well, he got a job in Boston. I got a job in St. Louis. I'm moving to St. Louis. Screw him. I'll find another guy. Now, that ain't quite right. And if she can do that to one guy, surely she can do that to you. A woman is led by the heart. So if she's not following what the heart demands, that lets you know she's out of line with her femininity. And if her heart is not ruling, she's going to prioritize worldly things over the things and the people she should love. Namely, you, your kids, you're all going to be on the back burner. And she going to prioritize $1 over you, which means she's heartless and soulless. That's a woman you should absolutely avoid. He writes, she needs to know her role in the relationship, indeed, and that role needs to be defined. You actually need to sit down and have that conversation. Don't tell her what it is, see what she thinks it is, and then correct from there. You see, the best way to teach someone is when they're able to share what they already know and they feel like they've discovered something on their own, or you made it make sense to them rather than just ordering them around. No one wants to be ordered around and feel bullied, not even a woman, not even a child.
Raymond said, guys, get the Patreon. I'm new to the SASN Patreon, and I already soaked up so much game in finance, life, and women. No excuses for the freeloaders because I'm in a terrible financial situation right now.
That's love. Shout out to Raymond.
And here's another reason. Rich said, YouTube acting funny. Somehow they unsubscribed me.
That's deep right there.
So Patreon doesn't unsubscribe you.
Absolutely.
And Akeem sent a super chat. He said, preach, saint.
Sir, yes, sir. Sir, yes, sir.
And just for people that are new here, Will said, can confirm the Patreon goes crazy, y'all.
You dig. Marcos writes, she needs to be open to personal changes. I want to encourage all of you to know that the woman that you meet is the woman you got. And I mean that. The woman you meet, that's the woman you got. She might make some minor improvements here and there, and you'd be blessed for that to happen. My hope is that you too are making personal improvements here and there. But do not go into a situation, and women often do this. They go into a situation thinking that, oh, this guy has these great qualities, but I'm going to get him to stop doing this. No, unlikely. And if you have a girl who has great qualities, but you think you're going to get her to stop doing X, Y, and Z, unlikely. And let me let you guys know one battle not to get into. You will never change her friends. Let her friends remain. Don't speak poorly of her friends. Don't speak poorly of her family, because those friends and those family will not change, and she will sooner change you out. Why? Because she's going to relate to the female more than she relates to you as a male, 9 out of 9. And that female, when she expresses herself, and women tend to express themselves too damn much, when she expresses anything that goes bad, that friend who's now a enemy of yours is going to be there to validate all of the bad thoughts that are coming up about you. And that's going to lead to your undoing. So don't ever speak your ill thoughts of her friends and family. If you are a man of morals and principles, surely she can infer what you think of low behavior. You need not say it. What's understood need not be said. Another saint writes, she must follow her man's lead and value his life. Oh, she should follow her man's lead and add value to his life. Fair enough. Someone writes, praise her man. See, this one, this is something that is a blessing, but not a requirement. And you surely should not be seeking praise from a woman. At the end of the day, 9 out of 10, you might be the one that's praising her so that you can influence her in the ways that you want by using the power of word. However, as a man, your source of self-esteem must come from within. You wanting the female to praise you is a bad instinct. And I've heard many times women complain about this instinct in underdeveloped males. So I highly recommend against this. I surely would never request this. Oppositely, when you find a female whose instinct is to put you down or to deride or to be negative, This female is a low down, dirty, useless dog. And we all know what a female dog is. And she should be treated as such, dogged out and discarded. A female who discourages is really the lowest thing on earth and is acting in complete opposition to her ordained role, which is that of supporter. Yes, you can support without praising. Understand that. Furthermore, when you say the female should praise her man, not quite right. You got to look within yourself and ask, well, do you need that? If you do need that, why is it that you need that? Why do you need a pick me up from those who are ranked under you? And what I mean is this. Would it make sense for your boss to come into work and expect you, the employee, to praise him and tell him, hey, boss, you're doing a good job? No, the boss comes into work, tells the employees they're doing a good job so he can influence them to work harder and do the right things. So understand that dynamic. Another saint writes, understanding that a great man is worthy of her love, respect, and loyalty is the best investment for her future. That's correct. This is a critical piece of education that I'm going to give to my daughters, because women have certainly overvalued themselves, not realizing that the high amount of value that the male society puts into them during the ages of age 14 to say 35, when the woman is physically appealing for sexual purposes, that is not a reflection of the true value the woman has. That is merely a reflection of the sexual drive of the male, which is to say, love, yes, they might give you all of this attention. It's merely to sleep with you. Doesn't mean they want to keep you. Certainly doesn't indicate they're going to marry you and provide for you over a lifetime. Hence, you have to rightly understand your true value and your position in this world. And you would be wise to secure a mate early in life, because your value is declining rapidly, especially the higher quality guy you want. The more you're aging, the more you're, getting out of birthing age, you are becoming less desirable rapidly. Not to say guys won't sleep with you, but they won't keep you. They won't lay with you every night in their home. You see, so I really would encourage all the fathers to make their daughters keenly aware of this, because the chick gets deluded into thinking she has time, which she doesn't. She gets deluded into thinking that, oh, I'm 28 and he's 28. We're the same age. No, you're not the same age, because when a man is 28, he's dating girls who are 18. When a woman's 28, she's still dating guys in her age range or older, which means that he can swing 10 years down, but a woman cannot swing 10 years down. So she needs to understand her age is a function of gender, which is reality, biological reality. He writes, and I like this concept the Saint put forward, which is that a woman invests in a man. And this is true. And the more she delivers to that man, the less likely he is to discard her. But let me warn all the ladies out there. You're dealing with a man of integrity. Don't you ever cross the line of disrespect. When you cross the line of disrespect with a man who is respected in the society, with a man who has self-respect in the society, you cross a line of no return. You cross a line of no return. A king will not suffer being treated like a peasant, and he surely will not forget it, and it will mark your record with him, and you will be in lower status in his eyes for all time. There are certain things you do not say to a man. There are certain things a woman does not do to a man or behind a man's back. I'll give you an example of one young lady I have a lot of respect for in the way she conducted herself. There are times I'd raised my voice at her. There are times I'd said foul things to her, even about her friends every now and then. Never once did she raise her voice to me, and never once did she ever curse when in conversation with me. Never once did she ever insult me. Maybe behind my back, but never any of those things to my face. And it was a direct result of her upbringing, which she was raised very traditional and very religious. And in her mind, you do not raise your voice to a man. You do not curse at a man. You do not insult a man, especially if it's your man. It don't matter what he said or what he did. You don't do those things. Full stop. No excuses, no explanations. Had to respect it. And a woman like that, you have to, I mean, she's a rare bird and it's obvious. And ladies, if you can display that kind of control, you will be prized among women. I'm not encouraging men to be brutes. Men should certainly have self-control and be mindful of their mouths. Though the tongue is small, it can create large amounts of damage. We should always think before we speak. You caught up? Yep. Oh, they ain't supporting the work. The game is A1. Let me give them a little bit of time. Shout out to the members, by the way, especially those who are members at patreon.com/the Saint in the Center, the member websites, and the new member subscribers that we have on Instagram.
Marcos is on here. He got to watch the cooking last night.
Indeed. Indeed. And the meal that we cooked last night is also listed in our recipes in my diet document, which is available for members.
On Cash App, Simeon said, can you check the comments?
I'll give you some time to pull that up.
Simeon, I'm not sure if your name is the same on YouTube as it is on your Cash App.
Simeon, go ahead and repost that comment in the live chat and we'll address it.
Osmosis came in on Cash App. He said, peace to the saints.
Peace to the saints. The saint writes that she should stay fit. Again, that's, of course, you know, if you're exercising regularly, bring her along and keep her encouraged in that vein. You are partial manager in that effort. He writes feminine, not conditional femininity. I agree. We're in a strange era where women say, oh, you know, I'm in my feminine energy. Shorty, that should be the only energy you have. There's no such thing as my feminine energy, my masculine energy. That all this hokey pokey stuff, knock it off. You're a female, you should be feminine, full stop. And it's not a matter of like, oh, well, when I'm with this kind of guy, I'm feminine. When I'm with that kind of guy, I'm not feminine. The problem is that we're dealing with a culture of slores, which is to say promiscuous women who date indiscriminately because they're gold diggers chasing money or chasing sex. When you have moral women who are selecting men that they want to be with long term, they should be themselves, which is to be feminine and to be submissive and to do all the things that ensure that they're going to get a man who wants to stick with them for the long term. But they shouldn't be performing that identity. That should be who they actually are. So ladies, if that's not who you are, you should work on that ASAP.
Simeon said, Bridget, you keep forgetting about me. We read your Cash App. I said, I don't see a comment, so feel free to
okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Ken said, peace to the saints. I appreciate the work as always.
Thank you very much, Ken.
Evil Owl said, do you have game on approach, aka having an arsenal in your Patreon? Appreciate the shout out to the saints.
Indeed. And you're going to want to flip back through the Patreon content to find a lot of that approach content, which is there. And also, I even just recently put like a very short one that I really enjoyed, maybe like a 1.5, 2 minute piece on approach and what to say and how to say. So do check that out. But if you scroll back, there's a tremendous amount of game on approach. There's even a video on how to approach in a gym, you know, an exercise gym. There's also a video on what I call inevitable contact. How do you get into a situation where the woman has to come up to you? So there's a lot of info on that.
Simeon's Cash App said, thoughts on the BofA zero down payment assistance program. Just got off the phone with the loan officer and I'm making steps to get pre-approved.
I'm assuming this is with regards to a home. I'm not sure what this is in reference to. Maybe it's for a mortgage. Anytime you can put zero money down, theoretically, that's a good thing, especially in an inflationary economy. If it doesn't increase or balloon your monthly payments on this asset, then it shouldn't be an issue. And truth be told, with a real estate asset, you're probably going to offload it within 5 years. That's what I would do. So this is a good time to buy real estate. If you're looking at a auto loan, then a zero down is going to increase your monthly payments. And that's also probably going to increase the amount of interest you're paying. Sounds like a bad idea.
Carry on.
The Saint writes, don't be liberal or feminist. I agree with this. I know a lot of gentlemen who are conservative, not a lot. I know a couple guys who are conservative, yet their woman is liberal. This never goes well in the long term. You even observe this thing with Arnold Schwarzenegger, the former governor of California. The governor, get to the chopper. He had a wife who was very liberal, one of the Kennedys, in fact, a Democrat. And are they still married? Who knows? But there's some rockiness in their marriage, let us say. He ended up getting the nanny pregnant, and the nanny was butt ugly. That's what hurt me. You know, did you see the nanny?
I did.
Lord, she looked, she wasn't a nanny, she was a maid, and she looked like a maid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I seen some maids that didn't look like maids, and I was kind of like, girl, what is you doing cleaning in here? You're too fine. But no, she looked like a maid. It was bad.
While you're talking about that, Justin Time sent a cash app. He said, broke right now. Appreciate the game.
Appreciate you, Saint. And you know, really, you're just somewhere in life. You're in life. You know, broke is something deep. Broke means, you know, you're not broke. You're just in a portion of life. That's all it is.
Simeon said it's a home loan, particularly looking for multifamily property owner occupied.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Anytime you can maintain cash flow, this is good. I always prefer to maintain cash flow, and taking out long-term debt during inflationary economies is extremely intelligent. So this is a time to take out debt. Absolutely.
I'm caught up.
Thank you. One of the saints writes, always strive to be the best woman possible. Okay. Push the limits of serving her man. I like that. And you know, one thing we need to point out is that she's not prideful. A prideful woman is like a greyhound that can't smell. A prideful woman is like a killer whale that can't kill. A prideful woman is something you do not want, because she will never be able to fulfill her primary duty, which is to serve and to support. And for those who are religious women and men, you see, it was said that the actual purpose of Eve was to serve Adam. The purpose of Adam was to serve God, but Eve was there to serve Adam. A prideful woman is not willing to bow down in that way, as she should. And what's more, she should actually, if she must have pride in anything, she should show pride in executing her natural duty of following and supporting her man. So anytime you get that prideful woman who doesn't want to act right, especially when others are watching, you should be suspicious and know that in your absence, she's behaving like a low down, dirty, trifling animal, a scallywag. He writes, become so indispensable that losing such an asset would feel like losing an arm. This brother is going far, ain't he? I mean, damn.
While you're looking for his next point, Saro said he caught that maid lacking like in those videos.
I swear he did catch her lacking, but she thought she had to come up, and I'm going to say she won that one. I'm going to say she absolutely won that one. And I bet them child support checks are real juicy. Strive to make her man look like the boss in front of everybody. Okay, fair enough. And make your woman look like a lady if she's your main. Fair enough. Strive to be more than good enough. Okay. Yeah, one thing I want to add to that, ladies, is that you should never speak poorly of your man to anyone, to your mother, to your father, to your friends, to your coworkers. Not one time ever. It's not acceptable. And the same is true, gentlemen. You should never speak poorly of your lady, not to your mother, father, friends, brothers, anyone. It is inappropriate and it is not helpful. There may be times as a man you might seek counsel from those more experienced or wiser or just outside of the situation who can look at it objectively. As a woman, when you seek guidance, you should be seeking it from your man.
Suleiman said, peace to the saints. I've been approached an insane amount of pretty things. They show high interest, but I only end up converting a few. Is that normal or am I slipping up?
No, that's normal. That is normal. It's a game of volume. Daniel writes, be an asset to his health, wealth, and relationships. This is a true story. While not destroying his peace. Writes, peace to the saints. That's some serious game right there. I got to click a like on that one. And one thing that's critical is when you're always seeing life as a man through the lens of your goals, health, wealth, relationships, and you put it out there and let it be known, she is going to be tapped in with that. And now she can contribute because it is a known thing. Furthermore, the saint writes, I like this piece about relationships because we forget that the woman is able to network in ways that we as men can't network. And what I mean by that is anytime I talk to a chick who's between the age of, say, 14 to 40, it has to cross her mind of, does this guy want to smash me? Just because we're human animals. That has to cross her mind. When another woman talks to her, that doesn't have to cross her mind. She doesn't have to be suspicious. So your lady can go out and network on your behalf at a level that you can't network. She can do it with other women more easily. And with men, she can, because there's that underlying attraction, she can also be effective. And I'm surely not saying she should go out dolo trying to network with men on your behalf. But you get what I'm saying. If you're out at a networking event and it's the two of you and another couple comes up, her being there is going to be a factor.
Keandre said on Cash App, tips on providing an allowance for your woman.
Well, their context is important. So if she is not working at all except for you, she has no job, no source of income, she only works for you, then it is reasonable to consider something like that, giving her access to some amount of cash for known expenses. And that's why it's critical for a man to be a businessman, so that with your lady, you can map out what are the reasonable expenses that you have personally, what are the expenses you'll be paying on behalf of the family, and we're going to allocate this money and make sure that you're within budget. You dig? So if those conditions are the case, then yes, it could make sense. And that's going to be according to your lifestyle. And to help limit a woman's spending is one of your major responsibilities, and let you as a man not be an overconsumer. World Era writes, remaining reserved. I like that. There are a lot of women who don't know how to be low key. I repeat, ladies, learn how to be low key, which means sometimes shut the and sit down somewhere. You don't need to be the center of attention, love. You should be behind the man, not in front of the man. You should be quiet, not loud. That is a problem in this era of attention seeking, in this era of clout chasing. The woman wants to be out front with all eyes on her. She thinks she Tupac. You heard that Tupac album? There you go. Look at you. Yeah, she wanted to be loud and in charge. She wanted to be the center of attention. That is the very worst instinct in humankind, especially in female kind. It is a disgusting thing. A real woman wants to be behind the scenes. A real woman wants to be unseen. You dig? That's number one. He writes, have respect for her parents. I would say on a basic level, yes, you should have respect. Ideally, they should be respectable people. I don't want to make the assumption that her parents are respectable people, because sometimes your mom or dad might be a dirtbag, and just because they share blood with you doesn't mean they're a dirtbag. Same is true of your brother and sister. My hope is that our parents are respectable people, but certainly there should be a baseline of respect. And us as saints, we shouldn't speak ill of anyone without cause.
Dimitri said, peace to the saints. Tuition, big homie came late. I don't know if someone said this, but her knowing when to keep her mouth shut.
Indeed. Yes, we did touch on this most critical of topics. Yes, she should absolutely know when to keep them lips buttoned. The gentleman writes, faith in God. You see, this is a challenging one. Absolutely, religion sometimes protects women from the world, and other times they use the religion for evil itself. Not only the women, there are a great many men who use religion itself for evil. You know how many females I know who are single, never married, late in age, and swear up and down they're real good Christians? Well, how could you be a good Christian woman and not be married? There's no way you could be a good Christian woman and guys wouldn't be beating down your door. Because if you were a good Christian woman, that means you know how to learn in silence, as stated in the Bible. If you're a good Christian woman, you know how to be a servant of your man, as described in the Bible. If you were a good Christian woman, you know how to be modest as described in the Bible. If you're a good Christian woman, you're a woman of prayer. You're a woman of many merits. So I say that to say the God piece, I'm not sold on. He writes a detailed listener. I think he maybe means an attentive listener, which is true. Traditionally, that's been a natural quality of the female. We only find that in today's era of the selfish, narcissistic female. Hell, they'll outtalk you. You're a grown man. I've even seen them outtalk their parents. Parents are talking. They cut off their own parents and start babbling. It's unreal. She should absolutely be an attentive listener.
Solomon disagrees with the religious. He said, no offense to anyone, but church girls are easy. I do not go for
Oh, hey, I can attest. I remember I met my first dirtbag when I was 16. She was a church girl. I actually met her in the church youth group, and I was playing nice with her because I was like, oh, this is a church girl. And then the homie started dealing with her and just ran through her, just ransacked her drawers ASAP. And I was like, Lord Jesus, I have learned the way, which is that you got to be no holds barred out here, man. It is a pity. And then the saint writes, genuine innocence. Well, 9 out of 9, if she being genuine, she ain't innocent. So I think that's unrealistic, saint. And that's one thing I want to caution you guys about is you need to live in the real world, not in your hope. Innocent, you're unlikely to meet a grown woman who's innocent. I mean, the world that these girls are birthed into is an unfortunate world where they grow up on pornography. It's an unfortunate world where you got girls who stick like foreign objects. They call them tampons, but foreign objects up their vagina at young ages. When do you start menstruation? Like the 3rd grade, 4th grade? When do people start menstruation?
I think like middle school.
Like 5th, 6th, or like 6th grade, something like that?
Yeah.
Cool. So that's like 12 years old.
It's 12 to 15, I think.
Okay, 12, 13 years old. You got 13, 14-year-olds sticking objects up their vagina, supposedly haven't lost their virginity, but somehow they're sticking foreign objects up their vagina, then walking around the planet Earth with it in there. So they come into a world that is fairly corrupt. To think that they're innocent would be for you to be a fool and to be really a novice in the game, because I've heard women tell me that they were as young as 9 years old and they were in a bathtub and the water from the bath rushing up stimulated their clitoris and they had an orgasm. And then they always loved taking baths from then on. And I'm like, at 9? At 9? I didn't even rub my joint until I was 14. Thought I'd broke it too.
Okay, we have Daniel came in on Cash App. He said tuition.
Peace to the saints.
And Manuel came and he said peace to the saints.
Peace to the saints. So I really want you guys to not set yourself up for disappointment and failure, because if you're thinking that these chicks are innocent, you lost. It's just not the case. Now, because a girl is not innocent doesn't mean she can't be a good woman or a sensible person. Doesn't mean she can't be moral, but you'd be a fool to think that they are innocent. That just is not true.
Marco said peace to the saints. Hit that like button.
Indeed. I'll give you all some time to share your thoughts, questions, comments as we wind down. Or, hey, Marquett, my girl did this. What do you think? I'll tell you the truth. I wonder what the white text logo would look like on there.
I think the black looks better.
Yeah.
What top are you wearing in the thumbnail for this video?
Let me see if I'm even in it.
While you're looking, final
Oh, yeah, that's cold. That joint is actually not coming to market, but there's one very similar to it. The Emperor of Miami, Jason Paul, is actually producing it. It's a colder piece, actually, and I'm sure it's a colder piece because I've worn both of them. And the one he's producing, we're producing it because it's colder. A lot of compliments. You're gonna love it.
Final Stand said, do you approach girls who is on the phone or have headphones on?
With the headphones, no. Because the headphone girls, they're usually trying, excuse me, I apologize. They're usually trying to block out the world. Those girls are weirdos. And I think they're weirdos for a number of reasons. Because one, I like to be aware. You heard me? Like, I don't want to wear AirPods or sound canceling headphones while I'm walking in the world. You don't know what's around you. So those girls are weirdos. They're trying to black out the world. Now, side note, if a girl is bad, or she doing too much reckless eyeballing, I'm gonna shoot that shot. And so here's a couple tips for you. In terms of girls on the phone, I have approached a number of them in life. Generally, I avoid it, but there've been a couple of times I've done it. I remember one such time a girl was walking by. I was like, "Hey, give me the phone. Let me talk to him." And she actually gave me the phone. You heard me? So that's a fun thing. That's a light way to approach. And she might give you the phone. Just side note, she might give you the phone depending on her sense of humor and her personality. There have been other times a chick was walking by on the phone and I just hit him with a business card. Like, here, shorty, take that, bang my line. In terms of girls with the headphones on, I don't think I can't say that I recall having ever done that. I think I just personally find it to be distasteful to be walking in the public as a female and have that level of unawareness.
Simeon has already sent tuition. He said he's sending more. He said, 2 years ago, my girl started a business that I didn't approve of. She was hard-headed. Thoughts on this ambitious decision? It was a foolish decision, in my opinion, and the results have shown it.
Is he asking me a question, or you just want to put that out there?
He said
So
thoughts.
I understand. Oh, okay.
Thoughts on this ambitious decision?
Let's see. 2 years ago, 2 years ago, my girl started a business that I didn't approve of. I'd be curious as to why you didn't approve of her business. Just because it is a business, just because she's going into entrepreneurship, or you didn't like the nature of the business or the kind of people it would put her around. For example, I know one of the Saints has a girl who's in the entertainment industry. And I can tell you right now, the entertainment industry, similar to the boxing industry, is a dirty business. And I surely wouldn't want my girl moving around in the entertainment industry. You know what I mean? Too much drugs, alcohol, sex, and assault. He writes, she was hard-headed. Often they are. He writes, thoughts on this ambitious decision. Well, her ambition, I think it's always good for someone to look to grow their wealth. And if she's your piece, that means she's growing your wealth if she knows how to kick it up to daddy like she should.
He said, for context, is beauty supply. It wasn't a sound business plan.
Oh, there you go. Then that's settled. Often women really not being inclined to entrepreneurship, they always do businesses that sell women's products. The world would be so backward if women were the business people, because anytime a woman is successful in business, she's always done something like the girl who created Spanx. What's her name? Sarah Blakely or Sarah something with a B. But it's basically a contraption that squeezes in a woman's fat, misshapen body into something more presentable. Sarah Blakely, yeah. And she actually stole that design from a Mexican. But anyways, it's neither here nor there. White female privilege. I'm actually doing a live on that tomorrow. They basically get every pass and every favor in the book. It's crazy out here. But the point is this: women create products for women. They're not the ones who cure cancer. They're not the ones who create the vaccine to polio and things like that. They're like, oh, I invented a new lip gloss. Okay, thanks, love. We can really use that in the planet Earth. That's what we've been yearning for. Anyways, yeah, if the business plan wasn't good, I mean, all you got to do is let her know your perspective as a businessman, as a professional, and then let her do what she's going to do. Our job is to give them guidance and to not forbid them when not necessary. Because if you forbid too many things with your female, then she's going to find you to be a tyrannical figure in her life. But if you forbid very few things, when you finally do forbid something, she should be able to respect it. And if you find that she can't respect it at that moment, then she got to go because she can't follow daddy's directions.
Hey, Gravity Film said, what do you think about lip injections and Botox when referring to women?
Bruh, they be going too damn far with them lip injections. I know a number of attractive women of every color who have put in them lip injections, and now they look like a goddamn look like a boxer after they done lost a couple rounds. You dig? They too puffed up in the kisser. It's an ugly thing. I find it to be very unattractive most of the time. And that's because the nature of the female who goes so far as to get lip injections, she just doesn't know when to quit. You feel me? They always go too big.
Hey, we have Zachary Brown said, has a woman ever told you that you were too good for her? What do you think about such a statement?
Tons of times, and they're always right.
Okay. Jerome said, the big homie, glad I can catch the live. Peace to the saints.
Peace to the saints.
I am, oh, Yep, I'm caught up.
Fantastic. As I said, I have a document called Marquett's Rules for Females, and whoever sends me the document of the items discussed in this lecture, I'll add them here. One thing that I have a note under the girls category is that they should never answer the door. So when they're at home, they should never go see who's at the door. They should wait for a man to answer the door. As I said, female should increase her submission to her man daily. For adult females, they should never find themselves in person, one-on-one with a male outside of their immediate family unless they're romantically interested, which is to say, unless they're willing to do whatever he wants to do sexually, they shouldn't even be there, because as a male, he has the natural physical ability to subject her to whatever he wants to.
Simeon said she's listening, by the way, talk about the girl with the business plan.
A word?
And he said, we were in Vegas, but you didn't get to meet her during conference number 4. I guess my lack of expertise experience made her override my decision, but I do consider myself an intellectual.
Right. And you know what? Sometimes people have to learn the hard way. You feel me? And even if you were right, it's okay, in as much as, people have to give it a try. The beautiful thing is that it was an it was a beauty supply business, not an OnlyFans business, right? That's the beauty of the situation. Is it ideal that she goes against your will? Absolutely not. But it's okay for her to know that that ambition she had didn't work. Often as human beings, if we have an ambition that we want to go for and we never try it and see what we can do, you're going to have that feeling gnawing at your soul of what you could have been. Now, if she tried it out and it ain't work, now she knows, I couldn't have been a successful person in the beauty supply, and low-key, I should have listened to this guy. He knows something. So perhaps next time she'll be more of a listener. And I can tell you, one of my businesses that I created called Hobby Buddy, the business model wasn't strong. And a doctor, actually, a female doctor I know, had told me, like, oh, Marquett, I don't think this is going to be the business for you that'll be successful. And in my head, I was thinking, bitch, fuck you. So I tried it out anyways. It was successful among consumers and got a significant number of users, but it never got investment because the business model wasn't strong. But it was necessary for me to do, so that I had that experience and that understanding of what doesn't work, so that eventually when I got on to other businesses, I knew how to be successful by making the right moves and avoiding the wrong moves and avoiding inferior business models.
Hector sent a cash app. He said, adding comment on YouTube chat. Hector, I do not see the comment yet. I will keep an eye out for it.
Cool. For girls, for adult females, never be alone in a private space with a male 13 years plus unless you're willing to submit to any sexual act he may seek. Now, what I'm saying to you, ladies, is that if a boy is 13 years old, he's strong enough to physically overwhelm you. So act like it. We might live in a society, but we're in a society of animals. And so don't subject yourself to these kinds of things. Or rather, I should say, these kind of opportunities for things to go awry. Protect yourself.
Hey, we have Chris came in on Super Chat. He said, my girl gained 46 pounds of weight.
Oh, my Lord. 46 pounds?
That's what I'm reading.
Oh, my Lord.
That's what I'm reading. He said, I feel it.
She's going to have a fat attack. Somebody save her.
He said, I feel it's my fault for not being more strict with her diet, gym routine. What should I do?
Is it your girl or is it your wife? Because when you say 46 pounds, I'm trying to find the exit. Good Lord. Now, I would say you have some level of responsibility as her leader, but 46 pounds is a lot of pounds. I know, because, there have been times I had to lose 21 pounds and it was painful because that's a lot of pounds. But 46 pounds is a tremendous amount of pounds. That's a plate. That's a whole plate when you benching. Shorty is a whole plate out here.
Like half of me.
So look, check this out. Number one, we know that she didn't gain this 46 pounds overnight. So that means you watched her be gluttonous and you let it go on, and you let it go on to excess. So certainly there is something that you violated. And this is also an indication. I hope there are no children involved, because if you let her get big like this, you definitely gonna let you're gonna have some fat babies, right? So you got to get that discipline in place before you bring kids into the situation, because This is completely unacceptable. And the truth is, if you saw that she was getting a little bit chubby, and mind you, you also need to check in with her psychologically, because a female needs to have shame. We all need to have shame, but a female really should have some shame. And there's no dignity in gaining 46 pounds. There's no dignity there. Unless she just yoked up and she about to compete in Mr. Olympia. But the fact is this: if you're doing your 30 minutes of sweat every day, which is a saint's duty, where the hell is she at? I mean, damn. Feel free to invite her to join, number one. And then also, there are a number of foods that are just unworthy of us. Coffee, sodas, which are heavy in sugar. When you remove these kind of things like McDonald's, you remove these things, this fast food, you're going to slim down fairly quickly. It'll be easier to keep your weight manageable. And then your time in the gym is spent sculpting greatness. And I want you guys to be so dedicated to your diet that, and dedicated to loving yourself. I say, be yourself, be good to yourself, right? Dedicated to loving yourself to the point where you just wouldn't even consider certain things. There's a time I was in the airport with somebody I'm not going to name. I'm in the airport with somebody I'm not going to name. The individual was hungry, and the individual says to me, "Hey, there's no other restaurants. You want to just get some McDonald's?" Man, I looked at shorty like, if you don't get the fuck up out of here with that shit, no way in hell I'm about to sit here and eat McDonald's with your ass. You crazy little motherfucker. So the point is, you got to get to a level where certain things are just unacceptable for you. And that should be true of you as the man and her as the woman. So
You should have a talk with that person.
yeah, I should. That person that was eating at McDonald's? Yeah. Absolutely. So anyways, yeah, what should you do? Get her on that 30 minutes of sweat and let her know from now on, there's certain things that are cut out of your diet. Sugar, soda, coffee, all things that involve addiction, caffeine-based products, Red Bulls, all that stuff, that's gone. Fast food, that's gone. You're going to be cooking at home, and 30 minutes of sweat every day. Mando. And that's 30 minutes of sweat, not 30 minutes of exercise. So if it take your ass 20 minutes to get the sweat flowing, well, we gonna be here for an hour. And if you got extra 46 pounds, I feel like your ass might just be sweating, standing still. She probably sitting right now, just sweat building up in this crease right here, sitting right now, sweat just building up. Sweat, she left her titty is a whole sweat sandwich under there, man. So go ahead and get her in line, because we're really talking about life and death right now. You dig, in a serious way. I know I might have been messing around, but we're talking about life and death. Sorry. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hector, who sent a cash app, he was responding to Zachary, who sent the one saying, "Has a woman ever told you you're too good for them?" Mm-hmm. Hector said, "I had this happen to me with my girl. I've shown grace, but I'm certain I need to fall back on logic rather than heart. Saint has talked about strengthening the heart."
There you go.
We have Airmax said, "Do you have a video on how to tap into the state of flow when handling any task?"
That's so funny he asked that. That is so funny. I got to hurry up and put out that conference 4 footage. Saying I did a whole session on, it's called Life in a State of Flow. I did a whole session on it. That was spiritual right there, huh? I need to give the people that work. I need to give them that work.
Simeon's back. He said, "She is saying it's not that it isn't working. It's becoming successful. It's a brick and mortar." She added, "I don't do S for her. She has 2 kids by me, and she is trying to do everything by herself."
Wow. Okay, girl. Calm down, girl. She over there getting lit, huh?
He said, "What should I be doing for her given I have my own plans?"
Go ahead, pop up that first one. We're going to get into it.
And he said, "And didn't approve in the first place."
Right. Look, he writes, she is saying, quote, "It's not that it isn't working. It's becoming successful. It's brick and mortar." Number one, brick and mortar, that is a low profit margin business. Anytime you go into business, certainly there are a number of things that you can be passionate about, and that's a good thing. But above all, you need to be passionate about the dollar, right? Like, unless you're already independently wealthy. If you're already a millionaire, go help people or go do things you enjoy. Like me, I make rap albums, even though they don't make me any goddamn money. I just like rapping. You heard me? I like bars. But the point is, brick and mortar is expensive to maintain and is very low profit margin. If I were you, I might be asking myself, rather than have a beauty supply store, which of the supplies within the beauty supply store are selling the most? What if I just picked my top 4 sellers and I sold them remotely, whether it was on Amazon, Poshmark, Mercari, or what have you? I'd always be trying to think about improving profit margins, reducing my cost as a business person. That's number one. Moreover, he writes, she added, I don't do ish for her. Well, when you say for her, I hope that's not true. I hope she means for her business. And I still hope that's not true, because if you two are, man and woman, and you have children together, you're in this together. And it's one of those things of, say Donald Trump becomes president, or say Joe Biden becomes president, you'd be a fool to hope they fail. Because if you don't like Joe Biden and you hope he fails, you're still in the nation he's messing up. So you still need to support and help them win if possible. And for him to help you, love, you definitely have to be open to advice and open to suggestion. And Simeon, I hope that you're not hung up on the idea like, man, I told you this ain't going to work. And so you're hoping it fails. Nah, even if you told her it isn't going to work, if you can lend a hand or lend some intelligence, do. I often tell people, hey, you asked me for advice on something I don't recommend you do. So I'm going to tell you how to do the wrong thing, because I think you're doing the wrong thing, but I'm going to tell you how to do the wrong thing the right way. And sometimes that's what it has to come down to. And that's why we say the saint, the sinner. Maybe she did what a sinner would do, you dig? But help her be successful at what she's chosen to do. He writes, she has 2 kids by me. Congratulations, my dear saint. And he writes, she's trying to do everything by herself. That's never a good thing, love. You need teamwork to make the dream work. What was that second piece? And go ahead and send your questions, thoughts, comments right now.
What should I be doing for her, given I have my own plans?
Well, number 1, be yourself. Number 2, be good to yourself. Number 3, be good to good people, in that order. So be yourself, be good to yourself, which is to say, if you have your own plans, execute on that first. You got time, energy, and capital left over. That's what you can contribute to this young lady to help her see this beauty supply store through. Now, let me let you know, that is a man's ethic. That is the order in which the man does things. Her order is different, as she prioritizes family first.
And he said, since I didn't approve in the first place, but
he's sticking with that, ain't he?
She might not be good. She said you can't rap. So it means that he disagrees.
Oh wait, his wife said I can't spit bars.
He said she also said you can't.
Oh damn! Oh damn! Simeon, she crazy, bruh. She crazy. I don't know how you deal with her.
Saltyman said, I'm not gonna lie, I put Playerism on my plate. That song is fired.
You feel me?
Playerism is cold.
You feel me? Why is she hating on the P? Why is she hating on the P? She keeping it real too. She don't remember that part about certain things you just don't need to say. Oh boy, Lord Jesus, carry on.
She's listening. Tell her what the best track on your album is that she can listen to.
Oh man, for a woman with a bad attitude, let me see. It depends on what kind of joint she likes, but ask her to listen to both of my albums. One of them is called the first one is called Day One, and the second one is called In Real Life. Tell her to listen to both of my albums and tell me what's her favorite track off of each one and what's her least favorite track off of each one. This would be some good feedback for me. Donovan said, mouthpiece is cold. Oh yeah, she one of them ones that don't know when to hold the truth in. Yeah, sometimes you just got to hold the goddamn truth in because don't nobody want to hear it. He said pushing P was fire. You feel me? And the bars be pristine. She must not like bars. I know she like mumble rap. She like when be like, I got broads in Atlanta, the scanners, and they be making them sound effects like skirt, skirt. She like rap like that. That's what I'm thinking.
Donovan said, tell her to listen to Mouthpiece.
Go ahead. Oh, this is perfect. Dimitri said, listen to Feminazi. That's the one for her. Thank you, sir. Dimitri is a genius. That's the one. Listen to that one, shorty. I wrote that one for you. Indeed. Oh, man. She done spoke up on the bars. I'm going to need my fade when I see her. I'm going to need to throw these heads. Oh, Lord. Saints, I give you a little bit of time to send your thoughts, questions, comments as we wind down here.
And Simeon did send a third super chat to have that read, by the way.
Understood. Boy, she keeping it real, huh?
Yeah.
Good Lord. She keeping it too real. She done exceeded what's necessary. You're a Lil Durk fan, I bet.
I don't know who Lil Durk is.
Saints, it has been a pleasure to have this time to fellowship with you. Let us end with our tradition, the creed of the SASN. Repeat after me with full conviction, knowing this is true of you. the creed of the SASN. I'm going to be who I truly am because I am remarkable. And I'm going to strive every moment to show the greatest part of who I am. Until next time, peace to the saints.